Fighting game events have certainly changed over recent years. Events like CEO, UFA, and of course EVO have pushed the limits of what fighting game events can be and have attracted large enough audiences that winning one as a player could change your life forever, if you can get to them. Now, as a United States citizen, I'm lucky enough to have a strong passport that allows me to travel to almost any high-profile fighting game event in the world without much issue. But all passports are not treated equally, and for many other players, obtaining a visa that will let them embark on their professional fighting game dreams is often just that, a dream. Enter Sherry Nhan and her initiative, eFight Pass, a program created to help players get their visas to travel to the United States or other countries to compete in fighting game tournaments. What are the origins of eFight Pass, and how successful has Sherry been in helping players achieve their fighting game dreams?
So eFight Pass, it's kind of a weird thing. It was like a personal project of mine that turned into this public program. I basically just help players from around the world acquire a US visa, typically a travel B1, B2 visa, which is not technically a work visa, but you can come here for business. So eFight Pass was an idea that started in my head towards late 2018. That's kind of when I started traveling internationally. So at first I wanted to start with one player like El Tigre. I was playing him in Mexico at Thunderstruck and I was like, you're really good. I've seen you play online. And he was telling me how he had visa issues. So I was gonna personally help him out. And then the thing that happened with Crossover, he is a Street Fighter player from Dominican Republic. And I was like, you're really good too. He was like, oh yeah, visa issues. So it just seemed to be a common theme. I don't want to just help people that I personally meet. I know a lot of people around the world needs help. So I was like, let me work on a website. And then it kind of just like blossomed into this thing where the community donates, and then if we have enough money, we can send out a player to a tournament or just pay straight up for their visa fees. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know, it just evolved into what it is now. The process of getting US visa seems pretty simple for us because this is something that we're like accustomed to, but for people from other countries, it's a bit more difficult. And the website itself is pretty hard to navigate. You basically have to fill out this online application, and then you have to register an account on a different website, upload that application through your confirmation number, pay for it through that website, whether it be a credit card. Some countries don't even accept credit cards. You have to go physically to a bank to deposit money. And then that's when you can schedule an interview, which is one of the most difficult parts because there's like Mexico, there are no interviews available until 2025, like late 2025. Now we're even reaching into early 2026. The difficulty behind that is you would have to put in a request for an emergency interview. If you get rejected, which happens quite often, you don't get to apply a second time for an emergency interview. Like you just have to hold that and wait until 2026, or you can gamble and pay for a whole new application and then do another emergency request. It's basically kind of pay to play. And then you get to come to the US, and it's different times, like they can approve you for a one-time visit, which was Crossover's visa, sometimes 10 years. Luckily you get 10 years. Louis Man, I just helped him get his or renew his because he had lost his passport. Fortunately, we were able to get an emergency request for him that got approved, and then he got a 10-year visa to the US. The United States, I feel, is kind of like the trailblazer for esports. So a lot of the stuff happens here. Winning a tournament in the US puts you on the map. I don't really see that shifting anytime soon. I know there are other countries that are starting to have bigger tournaments with way more payouts. But I think ultimately in the end, the United States is still gonna be the one where if you win something here, like all these esports teams are gonna start recognizing you, and that's kind of how you become a sponsored player or you move on somewhere in the industry. I think the biggest name that had an effect on the FGC that eFight Pass is like a huge part of was Arslan Ash.
Five-time Evo champion. 5 times.
It's just so funny because it's such a casual interaction with him. He had just won Evo Japan in 2019, and then I had DM'd him and I said, have you ever thought about playing in the US? And he's like, of course, but visas were always an issue of getting to the US. And I said, let me help you out with that. And then that was the same year he came to Evo in Las Vegas, 2019, and then won Tekken there also. So that he became the first person to ever win Evo Japan and Evo US at the same time. But I don't think the opportunities that he's gotten, like he's officially sponsored by Red Bull now. He is sponsored by Samsung also over in Pakistan. I feel like none of that could have happened without the results that he had in the US. It just changed the trajectory of Tekken and the FGC, right? Like he put Pakistan on the map.
Arslan cementing his position as the best Tekken player on the planet.
And then that's when other players from Pakistan started coming out. I helped get a Tief's visa.
9 quick rounds. Look at the pop.
So those are 2 names from Tekken. There's a couple other people as well. Anya from Mexico, she came in from the first wave that I helped, that was Arson's wave. And as far as other players, Capcom Cup, obviously there are players that qualify from around the world. Namikaze was a player from Brazil who had got his visa rejected, unfortunately, last year. And then a whole bunch of people started DMing me on Twitter and was like, hey, please help our guy. He's really important to us. And unfortunately, he had already gotten rejected, which is really scary because if you've had a recent rejection, they usually automatically reject you the second time. And I said, but I'll do my best. I'll write you a letter and everything. So that's something that eFight Pass provides as well. So I provided him with a letter and he miraculously got approved and was able to compete in Capcom Cup last year. Conqueror, I think his story is pretty amazing. He's from the Mortal Kombat scene, so this is before COVID had happened. Unfortunately gotten rejected, with my help even. I don't know what forces came in to help him because this is something that's never happened before. He got rejected. I'm not gonna name this person, but he was from the Marvel community. I guess he works for the White House now. He DM'd me and was like, hey, can you send me this guy's application? I'm gonna see what I can do. So I sent the application over to him and the letter that I wrote for Conqueror. But not only that, the Brazilian community really rallied behind him. So Twitter was blowing up in Brazil. About 3 days after this, he got a call from the embassy themselves and told him to come back. He got his visa approved, so come by and pick up his passport. And then he was able to compete in the finals of Mortal Kombat. So this year I was able to work in an official capacity with Bandai. I helped with the KOF finals, so I actually worked with a lot of KOF players this year with their visas. So the publishers have a really close relationship with our community. And whether it be the production for streams or tournaments and whatnot, like Tenno, they all know me personally. But a couple publishers reached out to me last year and was like, hey, our finals are happening in this location in the US. Do you think you'd be able to help some of our players get their visas here? So I was like, sure. I had my friend as a lawyer write up a contract for me because I never created eFight Pass to become a business. It was mainly just to help the community. But it's cool to see that this is an opportunity for eFight Pass to grow because I'm working at a loss, which is fine for me because again, this was like a community effort, charity sort of situation, but it's cool to see how publishers can recognize my efforts and they help their community, they help their players. So really cool to see the publishers reach out, work with me on that, and kind of hoping to see how everything evolves in the next couple years. Why I decided to do it, I think it's because I have a personal connection. It all started with my interactions that I had one-on-one with these players, right? And I'm like, these players really need help. And I think I travel quite a bit and I love meeting people from around the world. I love meeting the local scene, hanging out with them, even outside of just competing and practicing with them. The community has shown me so much love. Not everyone gets to experience that. So when you're looking in as a third party or you're kind of separated in a couple degrees from these interactions from these players, you can recognize that it sucks that these players go through that and that it's an issue. But when you don't have that personal connection directly with these players, it's kind of hard to find that inspiration to want to help. But because I've got to meet these players personally and everyone has been so great and they're amazing people, it's I just have that urge to want to help them. I also think people have more power than they know because it's not like I did anything special. Again, I'm not an immigration lawyer or anything like that. I think anybody has the ability to help these players. They just need a little more inspiration or a little more push or more recognition that small steps, any small effort can change someone's life so dramatically. And once people start recognizing the power that they have, I think there will be more help that comes down along the line.
It takes a lot of legal expertise, paperwork to get a visa to even come here. And this is someone who saw that need and just tried to help. I'm really happy to award our second award to Sherry Nhan.
So my very first Evo was Evo 2009. I was in the crowd, have never met Daigo, Justin Wong, all these players, and they had inspired me to keep on playing. Again, the community was very welcoming when I first joined. So it's kind of crazy to see 15 years later, I'm here on the stage at Evo getting a Canon Award for this. It's not something I would have ever imagined. It's not like I started this program because I'm oh yeah, I can't wait to see what awards or what recognition I get from this. It's really something that was just an idea. Even the players that I've helped out, just to see their growth is amazing. And I feel I'm the one who's kind of a +1 to that. Arson's journey got me onto the Washington Post. I was holy crap, I'm on the Washington Post, I don't know, I'm very grateful for all the opportunities given me. And I'm also grateful for the fact that so many people have reached out to me for help. It kind of grounds me because, everyone lives in their own world. We're all in our own little bubbles, heads down, just trying to make it through the day. And then you have this door, this window where you look out and then you see what other people are going through. And it you know, it's inspirational, motivational, and I appreciate that from the community.